Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for April 12th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 15. I am Merwat. I'm running ohmtown.com, which is a news aggregation site. This is a time machine episode because my mayoral duties required me to be elsewhere on the 12th. But since it's a time machine episode, it's basically the same thing. So it's kind of like the day after yesterday is tomorrow, something like that. But today we're going to talk about 5 articles. That's how our weekend shows work. The sentient AI is not, let me point the right direction. The sentient AI is not available today, at least not at this point. Temporal glitch prevented us from all working together. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about 4 years after death, personal mixed reality, jumping robot, murder prediction, minority report, and engineered bacteria. Because it's a time machine episode, there's actually 3 episodes that we're going to do. One is Reality Hacker, and then after that is Wanted, and then after that is I just forgot what the name of my actual show is. The Continuity Report. My God. Anyway, the Continuity Report is about entertainment. Wanted is about gadgets and gear, and then Reality Hacker is basically in the name. It's about hacking reality using technology of various sorts, technology and science. At any rate, let's get into this. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com. If you are interested in hosting or co-hosting, you can send an email to mayor@ohmtown.com and we'll figure out the specifics, what show you want to do, what the topic is. If it fits within one of our pre-designed 50 shows that we're trying to bring to market, we have 7. One is a daily, 6 are weeklies, and 3 of them are what you're going to experience today if you watch us here on Twitch and or YouTube. So stick around. We hope you enjoy the show. And by we, I mean me and the sentient AI, but the sentient AI isn't here, so it is what it is. Anyway, we'll see you on the other side. All right, so I'm wireless, except for now, right now, I'm charging up my transmitter as we're doing the show. And so I'm slightly tethered, I guess you could say, but everything is wireless. So it's a different mic than I usually have, which is this thing here. But I don't like being tethered anymore to a desk. I could actually, once it's all charged up or I carry a battery pack, I would be completely wireless. So if the audio sounds different and you don't like it, leave a comment in the show notes. I would love to know. I know that there have been other audio kind of glitches because of the mic and pops and stuff like that. I can put a little pop filter on this. But this is a really nice microphone, and I hope that everybody enjoys the audio quality. That said, let's get into it. While this is the front page of ohmtown.com, each of our shows have a unique front page, which is more focused on the particular topic, even though sometimes we grab stuff from various other categories within ohmtown.com if it has relevance. It's just whatever it is that has caused the news aggregator to throw something into a particular category, a different show channel. We overcome it because we parse over 3,000 articles every day. That said, you're in Reality Hacker, and we're talking about first, Alvin Lucier, I guess is their name. I don't know how to pronounce their Lucier. I don't know how they pronounce their actual last name, but is still making music for years after their death, thanks to artificial brain. In Western Australia, a team of artists and scientists have resurrected the U.S. composer. It raises a storm of questions about AI and authorship, and it's incredibly beautiful, according to the author of this. In a darkened room, a fractured symphony of rattles, hums, and warbles bounces off the walls like an orchestra tuning up some parallel universe, but there's not a musician in sight. And the article is over at theguardian.com by Rosamund Brennan. And here is a picture of said composer Alvin Lucier, who donated his blood cells to be programmed into an artificial intelligence brain. So yeah, in the center of the room, visitors hover around a raised plinth, craning to glimpse the brains behind the operation, and under a magnifying lens sit 2 white blobs like a tiny pair of jellyfish, Together, they formed the lab-grown mini-brain of the late U.S. musician Alvin Lucier, composing a posthumous score in real time, which is beyond me. And definitely fit for Reality Hacker, because this is definitely hacking reality. When you look down into the central plinth, you're crossing a threshold, says Nathan Thompson, an artist and creator of the project titled Revivification. Revivification. You're peering down into the abyss and you're looking at something that's alive, just not in the same way as you. So they say here, revivification is the work of a self-described four-headed monster, a tight-knit team of scientists and artists who have spent decades pushing the boundaries of biological art, namely Thompson and his fellow artists, Guy Ben Airy and Matt Gingold, or Gingold, I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name either, alongside a neuroscientist, Stuart Hodgetts. Lucier is the perfect collaborator. In 1965, the composer became the first artist to use brainwaves to generate live sound in his seminal work, Music for Solo Performer. Longtime fans of his work, the Revivification team started brainstorming ideas with him back in 2018, but it wasn't until 2020, then aged 89 and suffering from Parkinson's disease, that the composer agreed to donate his blood to Revivification. And lo and behold, here are the blobs that you see into that lead to the sculptural and sonic installation that features 20 large parabolic brass plates which curve out from the walls like golden satellite dishes. Hidden behind each plate is a transducer like a speaker and a mallet, which respond to neural signals from the mini brain, filling the space with a kind of breathless, disembodied soundtrack. I mean, we're obviously anthropomorphizing what could be just random whatever, but they are pushing this idea that the revivification team, and it really is revivification, RIVIVIFICATION. The team used custom technology to bring the work to life, pseudo-life. Lucier's organoids were grown on a fine mesh of 64 electrodes developed with a German bioengineer, allowing neural signals to be captured from multiple layers, much like a developing brain. And by proxy, they actually make music. For now, Lucier's genius lingers in the darkened room in Perth, composing in real time through a brain that lives on without him. When they told Lucier's daughter, Amanda, about this is a quote, by the way, Ben Airy says this, and I'm sorry for the cough. I didn't catch it in time. When I told Lucier's daughter, Amanda, about the project, she laughed. Ben Airy says, she thought, this is so my dad. Just before he died, he arranged for himself to play forever. He just can't go. He needs to keep playing. Quite fascinating, right? We can live on forever. Maybe this is something that I can leave in my will, where I can just keep on making noise of some kind, and maybe somebody would appreciate it. So, pretty amazing. I'm going to end up looking to see if I can actually hear this as a production. Hopefully, I don't have to go to Perth to get it, but I think that the world would benefit from hearing just what this has translated into. But it is really by proxy. It isn't necessarily the artist, but it's the artist's brains, so to speak, making this music by proxy. Let's keep going. And if you want today's articles, they're already in Omatron, so you can exclamation point, and then for Reality Hacker, it's RH. And Omatron will spit it out in the order that we were talking about it. The next article is a new way to bring personal items to mixed reality. Think of the most prized belongings. In an increasingly virtual world, wouldn't it be great to save a copy of the precious item and all the memories that it holds? What's interesting about this, though, is that Ubisoft just announced that you don't own any software. Everything that you buy from them is not yours. It is a license to consume, something that I've been talking about for close to 20 years now. And it's always a shock to people. Well, wait, what do you mean? I purchased the software. No, you purchased a license to consume, and you are just ignorant to the fact that the terms have changed. And when you purchased an item back in the day, you had physical property, but now you don't, and you haven't for quite some time. movies, books, software, pretty much anything that you buy online, unless it's a physical piece of equipment or property of some kind, shirt, you have lost your rights to it. A book can be pulled off of your shelf digitally. Music can be recalled because the copyright holder, and a copyright can be pulled back at any time by the creator. Even in the light of a contract and whatnot, they'll get sued and they'll have to pay reparations basically for the crime of retracting their copyright. But for the most part, it's a contract grievance, and the rights holder is always the creator, which is a shame regarding AI. But anyway, so it's kind of far afield from where this article is actually going. A new way to bring personal items to mixed reality. Alex Ships from Massachusetts Institute of Technology put this article together. And it says in mixed reality settings, you can create a digital twin of physical items, such as an old doll, but it's hard to replicate interactive elements like the way it moves or it sounds, etc., and the sorts of unique interactive features that made the toy distinct in the first place. So researchers from MIT's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, or CSAIL, sought to change that and have a potential solution. Their InterRecon program enables users to recapture real-world objects in a mobile app and then animate them in mixed reality environments. So you would be able to interact with this virtual construction in InterRecon. And it may be able to teach a doctor's apprentice organ surgery or cosmetic procedure by visualizing each motion needed to complete the task. But then I've always thought that that's weird, because just because you've done it in a virtual space, doing it in the real world, as if you have the muscle memory to facilitate this surgery or whatever action, it's disconnected. So I've always thought it was really weird. So while taking a picture or a video is a great way to preserve a memory, those digital copies are static. We found that users wanted to reconstruct personal items while preserving the interactivity to enrich their memories with the power of mixed reality. InterRecon can make those memories live longer in virtual settings as interactive digital items. So as long as the item actually has the physics, sounds, etc., I think it's great. But we still lack the resistance, the physics of it in virtual space. We've no idea about the weight, and our brain can sometimes trick us into believing something, but eventually we kind of catch on. So to make digital interactivity possible, the team first developed an iPhone app using the camera. You scan the item all the way around in 3 dimensions to make sure that everything is captured, and then a 3D model is imported into InterRecon mixed reality interface, where it can be marked as individual areas to select which parts of the model will be interactive: doll's arms, head, torso, legs, etc. But I think that to make it really attractive, you have to make the entire thing physics real. So I thought it was really interesting to talk about this, but InterRecon interfaces can be accessed via mixed reality headsets like HoloLens 2 and Quest and others, I'm sure, as time goes on, and it allows you to choose programmable motion of the part of the item that you want to animate after your model is segmented. But this is kind of low rent. I think this is the introduction to real physics into a mixed reality space. And until we have interaction, real world interaction, it's still nothing more than an academic exercise. But there's much more to this article, and there is a research paper. Zizou Li et al. InterRecon towards reconstructing interactivity of personal memorable items in mixed reality. And it's on the archive preprint server. And you can follow this link through ohmTown over to techexplore.com. And Alex Ships, again, is the author of the article from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today. An insect-sized jumping robot can traverse challenging terrains and carry heavy payloads. Insect-scale robots squeeze into places their larger counterparts can't, like deep into collapsed buildings to search for survivors after an earthquake. The article is over at Tech Explorer from, again, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And to get the best of both locomotion methods, MIT researchers developed a hopping robot that can leap over tall obstacles and jump across slanted or uneven surfaces while using far less energy than an aerial robot. The research appears in Science Advances. The hopping robot, or hopeful robot, the hopeful hopping robot, which is smaller than a human thumb. And that's subjective. Not all thumbs are the same weight. Pardon me one second. It weighs about less than a paperclip and has a springy leg that propels it off the ground and 4 flapping wing modules that give it lift and control its orientation. The robot can jump about 20 centimeters in the air, or 4 times its height, has a lateral speed of about 30 centimeters per second, and has no trouble hopping across ice, wet surfaces, uneven soil, or even hovering. All the while, the hopping robot consumes about 60% less energy than its flying cousin. So, pretty cool. When the robot hops, or when the hobbit robots, I don't know, it transforms potential energy, which comes from its height off the ground, into kinetic energy as it falls. The kinetic energy transforms back into potential energy when it hits the ground, and then back into kinetic as it rises, and so on. So it basically is the hopping sequence. What it uses for recon and whatnot, I don't know just yet, but I'm sure that it's expanding its control and feature set so that it can perform more diagnostic research. Send it into smaller places and let it hop around, take recon. So we have this. We've been using this same robot for the entire series of experiments, and we have never needed to stop and fix it. So it's basically 4 flapping wing mechanisms powered by soft actuators or artificial muscles, and that are durable enough to endure repeated impacts with the ground without being damaged. So it seems pretty brilliant. So the robot doesn't really care about the angle of the surface it's landing on. As long as it doesn't slip when it strikes the ground, it'll be fine. Pretty cool. There's more in this article, but it's this tiny little hopping robot that will eventually be able to provide telemetry as it gets its feature set extended again and again and again. Okay, let's keep going though. Really sorry about the coughing. Got a really dry throat for some reason today. So the next article is over on the Marvel Channel. The UK is testing a murder prediction tool to identify potential killers. So this is very Minority Report. They even mentioned it I hadn't read this when I titled this Murder Prediction Minority Report. The UK government is quietly developing a murder prediction system designed to identify potential killers before they commit a crime, which I think should be a crime in and of itself. Yes, it is very literally the plot of Minority Report, at least on the surface. There are, of course, some differences, like how the UK's version is not powered by 3 people with the powers of precognition who are perpetually floating in water tanks. The real version runs on algorithms being fed by your personal data, typically dystopian stuff and not quite sci-fi dystopian, but I'd say it is. Louis Prado over at Vice.com put the article together. And it says here that the Ministry of Justice says that it's just research, nothing concrete yet. A UK-based investigative journalism outfit called State Watch dug up some info from a Freedom of Information document revealing the program's ambition, feeding thousands of people's data into algorithms to sniff out potential murderers. This includes deeply personal information like mental health status, addiction, self-harm history, and contact with police, even if you were the one calling for help. All you want to do is call the cops to scare off a bad guy. And now you're part of a murder prediction model, and who knows exactly how you'll be part of its predictions. I think that this is batshit crazy, but this is essentially, or especially true of supposed unbiased, rigidly objective, algorithmically based technology. Tech folks trying to sell a product live to position technology as this only concerned with hard data that is unburdened by prejudice, but it's bullshit. That's a lie. Absolute fabrication. But that's not how any of this works. It's been found time and time again that people in the tech world are constantly inserting their own biases into everything that they build. Absolutely. So crime predicting technology have an inherent flaw. They cannot predict what the future holds. They don't know what all of the actions are required to cause you to become a criminal. but the biases inherent within the people building them shine through. But police departments all over the world, looking to put in as little effort as humanly possible into investigating criminality, will continue investigating in crime prediction technologies that will almost exclusively target various groups. I won't say what they say here. I will say what they say, but it's not my particular belief. It will exclusively target ethnic minority groups and the poor. But in today's climate, I think that it will exclusively target those who are deemed a threat to the status quo of an administration. And while there were checks and balances in history, there are no more, even less than there were historically. So even if thousands of experts in the field come together to collectively condemn such technologies, it does not matter if the rule of law, logic, society is cast aside so that an ideological bent is made manifest. All the while gaslighting everybody else as if they are the ones that are causing this kind of thing, you know. It's just a bunch of batshit crazy. Anyway, the last article for today's Reality Hacker, and we've got two more shows. We've got Wanted and then Continuity Report, and then there might be a break, but we'll have to see. Mayoral duties be damned. So the next article and our last one for today is Engineered Bacteria Emit Signal That Can Be Spotted from a Distance. That bacteria can be engineered to sense a variety of molecules, such as pollutants or soil nutrients. In most cases, however, these signals can only be detected by looking at the cells under a microscope or similarly sensitive lab equipment, making them impractical for large-scale use. Well, engineered bacteria facilitate this. Massachusetts Institute of Technology again put this article together. It's posted over at phys.org. Using a new method that triggers cells to produce molecules that generate unique combinations of color, MIT engineers have shown that they can read out these bacterial signals from as far away as 90 meters. Their work could lead to the development of bacterial sensors for agriculture and other applications, which could be monitored by drones or satellites. It's basically a new way, they say here, it's a new way of getting information out of the cell. If you're standing next to it, you can't see anything by eye, but from hundreds of meters away, using specific cameras, you can get the information when it turns on. Says Christopher Voigt. I feel like that is part of the Voigt-Kampff test, but anyway, I'm doing some research into this idea of translating that Voigt-Kampff test into a real world test. So I'm really fascinated by it. Anyway, head of MIT's Department of Biological Engineering and senior author of the new study. So in a paper appearing in Nature Biotechnology, the researchers showed that they could engineer two different types of bacteria to produce molecules that give off distinctive wavelengths of light across the visible and infrared spectra of light, which can be imaged with hyperspectral cameras, cameras that are specifically attuned to see X and Y, whatever spectrum of light. So they say for long distance imaging or sensing, the MIT team came up with the idea to engineer cells to produce hyperspectral reporter molecules, which can be detected using hyperspectral cameras, and they've been around for a while, since the 70s. So I find it really interesting. I would love to see it actually used on humans to see if there is an identifier, a marker that shows exactly where something is, and then you can target specifically that with various treatments and just see how pervasive it is in a body, whatever it might be. So this is really interesting tech. But with that in mind, we're going to engineer some bacteria that's going to bring us all the way back to Reality Hacker over at ohmtown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. With that in mind, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to reset really quick, and then we're going to do Wanted. And then after that, about 30 minutes later, we're going to reset again and do the Continuity Report. So Continuity Report is, once again, all about basically having fun. So food, drink, and entertainment. But the Continuity Report focuses on like TV shows and movies and sometimes music and stuff like that, but really anything that has a continuity report, which is a sitcom, movie, TV show. At any rate, Go over and check it all out. Sign up, sign in. The search is doing pretty good of late. We've kind of remedied that problem, and other things will be coming back online as time goes on. But I hope to see you over there. In the meantime, I'm going to reset. It's going to take about maybe 10 minutes or so. So hope you're following us here on Twitch and or on YouTube. Download the podcast. Come and hang out in the Discord. There's a Patreon, TikTok for however long it lasts, and more. So be sure to hang out. See you soon.